Following the Battle of Cowpens in South Carolina, Lieutenant General Charles Cornwallis was determined to destroy Greene's army, but the loss of his light infantry at Cowpens led him to burn his supplies so that his army would be nimble enough for pursuit. He chased Greene in the race to the Dan, but Greene escaped across the flooded Dan River to safety in Virginia. Cornwallis established camp at Hillsborough, foraged for supplies, and recruited North Carolina Tories. However, the bedraggled state of his army and Powell's massacre deteriorated loyalists from turning out. Due to the fighting, thousands of slaves had escaped from plantations in South Carolina and other southern states, many joining the British to fight for their personal freedom in the waning months of the war. The British evacuated more than 3,000 free men to Nova Scotia, with others going to London and Jamaica. Northern slaves escaped to the British lines in occupied cities such as New York. On March 14, 1781, while encamped in the forks of the Deep River, Cornwallis was informed that Greene was encamped at the Guilford Courthouse. With him was a body of North Carolina militia plus reinforcements from Virginia, consisting of 3,000 Virginia militia, a Virginia State Regiment, a corps of Virginian 18-month men, and recruits for the Maryland line. Totaling between 4,000 to 5,000 men, Cornwallis decided to give battle, though he had only had 1,900 men at his disposal. He detached his baggage train, 100 infantry, and 20 cavalry under his command of Lieutenant Colonel Hamilton to Bell's Mills, farther down the Deep River. Before breakfast could be eaten, Cornwallis set off with his main force, arriving at Guilford at midday. The British line advanced across the cleared area, under heavy musket fire, suffering significant casualties. They were impeded by the fencing. The British foot charged, and Attila, having delivered the 2 volleys ordered, hurried away through the woods. The British were, however, still under fire from the American units in the woods on their flanks. The British line turned to deal with the menace, and the grenadiers and 1 battalion of foot guards moved into the center to fill the gap. The line now attacked the second ladder of Virginians, who had been reinforced by Washington's and Lee's men, and some of the North Carolina militia. Webster's pushed hard at the right flank of the American second line and forced it back. His men then immediately attacked the Continental troops in the third line. A heavy fire and charge repelled Webster's 33rd and O'Hara's Jaegers and foot guards. Following their charge, the Continental regiments returned to their positions. The British left flank was reinforced with the 23rd and the 71st, and the British attack was renewed. The American infantry gave ground, but Washington charged the foot guards in the rear, and the American counterattack led to a savage and confused melee. At this crisis, Cornwallis ordered his 3 guns to fire grape shot into the struggling mass. American and Britain were struck down indiscriminately by this fire, but the American assault was repelled. Tarleton then charged the American right flank. At this juncture, Greene withdrew, leaving his guns to the British. There was no pursuit. Cornwallis was left on the field, but his army was left in a sad state. He had suffered heavy casualties which could not be replaced. He had no supplies, and it began to rain heavily. Webster, on whom he relied, had been killed, and O'Hara was wounded. This ended up having one of the most deadly friendly fires in the whole war, and having one of the most deadly volleys ever fired in a war. Warning: this is what a few of us reenactors think happened during this battle. Anything you see was made by non-professionals, and no one was hurt in the making of this film, except one person, but that's all. What you see may or may not have happened during this battle. You have been warned.
Yankee Doodle went to town on a little pony, stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Find the music and the step, and with the girls be handy. Father and I went down to camp along with Captain Goody. There we saw the men and boys as thick as hasty pudding. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle.
map of Guilford Courthouse. The blue is the Americans, the red is the British. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the map. The map is Greene at the very top, General Greene with his Virginia regiments in Maryland and Delaware. And then a little bit farther down, this is all woodland territory, so there's the Virginia military. And then farther down, like right in front of the farm, there's the North Carolina Militia. And on the farther right, there's Lee's little bodyguard, you could say. Then the Rifles, and then the Rifle Legion, as you could say. And then farther left, there's Washington with the Virginia Rifles. And they're coming around for a little flank, as you can indicate by the arrows. And as you can see, the British are just doing like a full force attack on the farm, like they usually do. But if you pay attention, they have some Jaegers and some Grenadier Guards coming up around the side to get Lee's army. Though they're kind of leaving the Washington's army by himself, leaving himself to get flanked. But they do hold Washington's army off. That basically sums up the map. British do end up winning and heading straight into Virginia. That basically sums up the battle right here. The battle map.